Hello there and welcome to SME On Point. My name is Lydia Boseto, and as I said earlier on today, it's all about food here on SME On Point. Heritage Month is not only about showing off the richness of the South African culture and tradition through exceptional adornment of colorful traditional wear, but it's also a perfect time to revisit the indigenous food that the country has to offer. The founder of Gogo Foods, which makes canned moroho, has made it easy for us to include amaranth leaves in our diet. Take a look at his story. Ricardo Hood grew up eating moroho that was prepared by his grandmother. And as he grew older, the scarcity of the dish forced him to think of ways to make moroho conveniently available all year round. Amaranth leaves have been celebrated for centuries across various cultures for their remarkable health benefits.
The initial seed only came about once I met a farmer in the Free State who had been planting the product on a commercial scale, selling to the mines. And when I saw that, I thought, if you could plant it commercially, there could be a possibility that you could preserve it and make it available to the market. And that initial idea came about 2017, 2018. And I then spent 2018, 2019 researching the feasibility, seeing how you could preserve it. And in 2020, we got a breakthrough on our canning.
A Food Lovers Market Enterprise Supplier Development Program catapulted his business to the next level. But unfortunately, COVID happened, setting his plans back. With the recovery, he was able to bounce back and test the market again. And as with many innovations that have come onto the market, Hood says convincing buyers can be a challenge.
When we got to shelf, I thought that the uptake would be easy, much more easier, because most South Africans do know the product. But it's the first time that it's been canned in the world. So making people aware of that, making the consumer aware of that, was a bit of a challenge. I recall while we were doing tastings that one of the ladies said to me, "This product cannot be done in South Africa," because she was very skeptical. She asked if it's from China, if the product is from China. But so there is a bit of resistance, which I did not anticipate. But I do understand because it's new. So people have that misconception. Also, I think for a lot of us, having our own indigenous foods on a commercial level, people do not expect. So we had to overcome that.
Hood says changes in the food market, like the canning of foods, needs entrepreneurs like himself to work hard to convince consumers of the advantages.
While testing, I used to buy packets from street vendors. At that stage, it cost me 10 Rand a packet. And when you cook down the product and compare it to one can, because my can is cooked, it's ready to eat, the volume of product in the can is actually more than the cooked product. So there is value to be gained from the canned product. What I'm also proud of is that it's almost commercializing an indigenous crop, so that crop should always be available going into the future. And it then also pairs what we grew up eating. So you can almost conceptualize the value in what we ate and what we have now conveniently available, and none of the nutrition has been lost in the canning process.
Despite its unconventional packaging, Hood says there are a number of ways that Gogo moroho can feature in dishes this Heritage Weekend.
In the KZN recently, we came across a lady that had done cream sauce with mushrooms and then cooked some prawn in that and then added the can. And that was awesome. I typically, on a bride day, I would make Pop-Tart. So as you usually make your Pop-Tart, the way you make it, I'm just adding a can of the traditional moroho. It just tends to go better. And then, for convenience, when I was still a bachelor, I would usually cook mince and then cook down the moroho in the mince. But now it's much faster, much more convenient. You cook your mince, you add a can in. It cuts down on the time. You still have the same nutritional content in the food, and it's just much more easier, much more faster.
Diabo Seto, SABC News, Johannesburg. Such exciting innovation with foodpreneurs, and trust SME on Point to bring those to you. And like I said, it's all about food on SME on Point. And there's a new chef in town, and the mission is clear: to offer hassle-free cooking time, especially when you and your loved ones are craving a nostalgic traditional meal. The Unorthodox Chef Catering has grown a reputable business in the culinary world since its inception 3 years ago as a food manufacturer specializing in Mzansi's finest cuisine. Chef Phil Koza, the Unorthodox Chef, is here with me in studio. Chef Koza, Chef Phil, the landscape is changing. Whoever thought that one would see canned moroho? And now we even have a packaged cowhead. Welcome to SME on Point. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for bringing us through to studio to talk about the traditional foods that we're making. And we've innovated, and listening to the gentleman from Gogo's moroho, I think we should have met many years ago, because it's the same innovation, the same preservation we want to do with our heritage and our culture, and introducing our kids to all these foods.
Yeah, at least SME on Point has brought you together, and we'll connect you. That's what we do best.
Yeah.
Tell us, you've brought us some samples here. You do things that are dishes that are quite familiar to some of us. We have semp here, we have ox trotters, we have cow heads. I think I am seeing hard-bodied chicken.
Yes.
Tell me about the journey of packaging this and presenting these to the market, because South Africans can sometimes be a little bit hard to convince, especially when it comes to our traditional food. We still want to cook it ourselves.
Yeah.
And now when you find it on the shelves, what are they saying? Are they buying?
Yes, they are buying the foods that we have on offer in retail at the current moment. And it's through activations that we're changing those the paradigms that people have, because there's misconceptions, like you say, that people always want to cook their own food. But I had a conversation with a lady that came through with her husband and said, this is cutting off your preparation time of mohodu from 5-6 hours.
And electricity, by the way. Yes.
And she said to me, but my husband loves mohodu. He loves it straight from the pot. And then I said to her, okay, we are going to buy you one, warm it up in the microwave. You can use your air fryer, or you can use a double boiler where you're just putting in 2 centimeters of water and then just warming it up in the double boiler. And they were amazed at the taste. It didn't change, because now our shelf life with these foods is 6 months.
Okay.
And if you warm it up in those 8 to 12 minutes in the microwave, the taste does not change, because of the processes that we have innovated with to cooking all these traditional meals.
It's not a lot of times where you find that chefs themselves, you guys are often found in culinary school, in kitchens, but to come up with a business that becomes a core business, how easy or difficult was that, to start and write a business plan and say, okay, instead of preparing food, I'll be trying to get funding to make sure that the business gets off the ground?
Yeah, it's been quite an arduous journey in the last 3.5 years. And this was a brainchild where during the pandemic, we were making, I started making frozen packed meals, because we had an influx of over 260 guests every 2 weeks. And we were preparing 3 meals every day for 260 guests. Yeah. So in a day, we were churning out 1,000 meals. Wow. In a day. So we started making your frozen packed meals, and all these frozen packed meals are Eurocentric. So I then had an idea to say, but if we can prepare Eurocentric meals and freeze pack them, why can't we do it with our frozen packed meals? Because people are, your rural to urban migration. People are moving in from the rural areas, coming back into Joburg or into your cities, and people miss food from home.
From home, yes, yeah.
So that's when the innovation came. We started off as a small restaurant, and then decided to now supply all the people in the caravans and people that are selling on the streets. And then that's how the idea was born, because we had already started experimenting with the foodstuffs and freezing it.
Fantastic, and congratulations on
Thank you.
that. In the few seconds and minute that I have with you, tell us about what your best sellers are with the samples that you've brought us here.
Okay, best sellers are your mohodu, your beef stew, your cowhead, the samp. We are introducing idombolo because we've had so many requests for it. And we would also want to introduce mabele pap because people are becoming healthier and healthier.
Yes.
Yeah, so with the frozen packed traditional meals, you are finding your 90% of nutrients in offals, more than you're finding in just a grilled steak. So this is appealing to a lot of the people in the market. And just to share a couple of the ingredients, we're not using any of the salt, we're not using spices. So we've had a journey where we went through to different provinces and spoke to the grannies, spoke to the aunties.
To hear what they want. And of course, less sodium is obviously good for our health. I'm afraid we don't have a lot of time. I would have loved to engage more, especially to find out if you have plans of packaging putupap since you have cowhead. I know that a lot of people enjoy cowhead with putupap. Maybe there's something that...
Yeah, putupap is on the menu.
Great.
So the spread that we have here is just stuff that has been onboarded in retail.
Fantastic.
But there's more stuff to come.
Yeah. Chef Phil Khoza, thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. He is the Unorthodox Chef in studio with me, and we've been talking about his business, Heritage Week Day coming up on Tuesday, and we thought we'd treat you to what you can find on the aisles as you do your shopping. Remember, we are on Facebook. Our handle is at SME On Point. Remember to support small businesses in your communities. Let's make those rands and cents circulate.